What's the story, morning glory? What's the word, hummingbird? Greetings and salutations to all. Thank you so much for joining me. This is going to be 90 Day Fiancé the Other Way. The tell all. So, it was a good tell all. It was 2 hours long. It kept me interested. There was no lagging, there was no boring spots. So, for the most part, it was a really good tell all. So, let's start off with Steven and Alina. So, Steven said that watching the season made him feel like he was the worst person ever. Yes. You should have. Alina said that nothing has really changed. She doesn't support Steven communicating with other girls. Sean was trying to be very tactful, very respectful, I guess, by asking him. So I don't know what she said or how she phrased it, but she was trying to ask him if he was still, communicating or reaching out to other girls, but she didn't come out directly and say it. So she kind of said, like, is there things going on that you want to discuss with us? And he didn't say anything. And so Kenny had to step in, and Kenny was like, look, are you talking to other girls? Is that what you're doing? Is that what's going on here? Let's get to it, Sean. So Stephen finally admitted, there was like a long pause of him hemming and hawing, but he finally admitted that yes, he was talking to other girls. He said that they had gotten into a fight, him and Alina, and girls were sending him all kinds of inappropriate pictures. He was sending pictures of himself back, and they asked him, so the pictures that you were sending back to these girls, what kind of pictures were they? And he said, no, they weren't anything nude, but he would send selfies of himself, and in the selfies, he would be sticking out his tongue because the girls would send him nude photos, and he would send pictures back of himself sticking out his tongue and saying, really lewd, lascivious comments like, basically, what he can and cannot do or whatever he wants to do with his tongue. And so it was extremely inappropriate because Stephen and Alina are legally married. They are husband and wife. And so you get into a fight with your wife, and the first thing you do is you go out and you start communicating with other women online. And it was a total of 9 girls that he was talking to. Okay. So, the girls had sent screenshots of whatever Stephen was sending to them to Alina. And so she was getting hardcore evidence of what he was doing, black and white. She could see with her own eyeballs how he was behaving behind her back. They asked Stephen, why are you like this? Why do you keep doing these things? And he said that he had a lot of sexual energy and he had to somehow repress them. And then he talks about how he approached Alina with having a menage a trois. And I'm like, what happened to the boy that was a practicing Mormon, LDS church? Like, what happened to that young man? Like, what's going on here? Because he was very strict with Alina, about her practicing the Mormon religion, her being baptized, her not drinking any caffeine, not drinking any alcohol. He was so worried that when she comes to America, maybe she won't even go through with the process of being baptized. But here he is, going outside of his marriage, trying to, connect sexually with other women, and approaching his wife with this whole idea of having a threesome with his own wife. And so then Armando says that, Armando obviously was there, but he was there remotely from Mexico. Armando chipped in and said, you know what, I grew up as Mormon as well. And he said the problem with Stephen is that, you come off like a hypocrite. You're saying one thing, but then you're doing something completely different. And then also on top of that, you're very strict with your wife following the Mormon religion where you're not practicing anything Mormon. And Corey also said the same thing. Corey agreed with Armando, and Corey himself said that he also grew up as Mormon. I was like, wow, I didn't know we had so many Mormons on this show. And so it was just like what is happening with Steven? So him getting off social media, Alina forcing him to delete all of his social media accounts, has done absolutely nothing to improve anything. She is still having the same exact issues that she had with him before they were even married. So before leaving for Turkey, Stephen had met up with his ex-girlfriend, Vanessa. So they showed a clip, which was not seen during the season. This was a never-before-seen clip. They show a clip of Stephen meeting with Vanessa, and Vanessa calling him out for telling her that she looked good in and pictures that she had posted online. And Vanessa had told him in this clip that was never before seen, Vanessa had told Steven that, you have a girlfriend, you're going to go marry this girl. And here you are, telling me that I look good in whatever pictures that I'm posting on social media. So, you haven't changed at all and you're about to get married to somebody else. Steven said that he only wanted to meet up with her just for advice. And I think he had even asked her in that clip if they could meet up later. And I think she had declined. She was like, no, that's not going to happen. So then they actually bring out Vanessa on stage. So she comes out. She said that she dated Steven for 3 to 4 months. She broke up with Steven because he had confessed to her that while he was in Russia, he had slept with 3 different girls. So Sean was like, well, what do you think? Sean asked Vanessa, what do you think Alina should do? Because Alina was listening to all of this. And Vanessa said that Steven's never going to change. In fact, he's even gotten worse. So she's going to have to leave him. Steven and okay, so Alina said that, so when Vanessa said, I think that Alina should leave him because he's never going to change, Alina said that she can't help it. She feels how she feels about him. She loves him and she doesn't want to leave him. And she says that she really does believe and hope that Steven will change. And Steven even said that they have scheduled a meeting with a psychologist because he needs help. Vanessa begged Alina to leave Steven. I mean, she even was getting emotional about it. Vanessa said that she was there to support Alina. She came there to support Alina and to help Alina. And Alina was like, you know what, I really do appreciate all, your concerns and your thoughts and all this and that. But, I'm going to stick by my man. I'm going to stick with him. So they're going to go see this psychologist at some point that's supposed to help him. I'm not exactly help him for what. I don't know, his sexual addiction, his urges, I'm not understanding helping him for what. And I don't see this, getting any better. I really don't. I think Alina is in a world of hurt. I'm surprised that her mother was not on the show because everybody else had relatives there. But her mother wasn't on the show and no one from his family came there either because I would have thought that her mother would have been there. I guess her mother is probably fed up with it. And all I can say to Alina or about Alina is this. If Alina is going to stay with Steven because she thinks he's going to improve and she thinks that he's going to get better, I don't want Alina to talk to her friends or talk to her mother about the problems that she's having with Steven. She needs to keep that to herself because you go to your mom and you go to your friends and you're telling them, oh, Steven is cheating on me. He won't leave other girls alone, so on and so forth, but then you won't leave him. Then when people say to you, okay, Alina, you deserve something better. You don't need to live like this. He's not good enough for you. Oh, but I can't. I love him so much. He's going to change one day. So why are you talking to us about this? Why are you wasting our time talking about this? If you've made up your mind that you're going to stay with him, then go stay with him and leave us out of your bull crap. Go stay and be happy with him and let him cheat on you every which way and, leave us out of it. Steven is going to get another woman pregnant. Steven's probably going to give her a disease. This is not ending. And it's not ending because he knows he can get away with it. He knows that he can just, say whatever he needs to say to Alina. Alina's going to stay and he's going to go on. He's going to continue. Whatever he's done so far is bad. And she still wants to stay with him. What he did before they got married was bad. They got married, it got worse. So I don't know what to say. So Ari, during the break, Steven was talking to Benny and Ari, and he was, giving whatever nonsense excuse he was giving of why he does what he does. And Benny was like, yeah, it's understandable. Everybody makes mistakes. And I'm like, Benny, please shut up. Your woman will not take this from you at all. So for you to be sympathetic to Steven, you're treading on very thin ice because Ari is going to cold knock you out if you show any kind of support to someone like Steven. So Benny was like, yeah, it's understandable. Everybody makes mistakes, so on and so forth. And then Ari said that if you feel like you're not going to change, let her go. Let her go. And but he's not going to let her go because he's able to have he's able to have a woman by his side who's willing to put up with all of his mess, and she is not going to let him go. I don't know why. I don't know if some women feel like that if they're with someone who has a cheating spirit, they want to stay with them because they feel like they can, if they can get him to stop cheating, it's going to say something about themselves. They're going to feel like, oh, I must be worth it. I must be beautiful. I must be whatever for him to have stopped doing what he was doing for me. I don't know if I don't know if that's what she's trying to do, because I don't understand why he doesn't have a lot of money. I don't know what she's trying to accomplish. They're going to go live in Russia, so it's not like she's trying to stay with them to get to America. So I'm not understanding. He's so immature. I don't get it unless he's got, good game in other areas, and that's what she's addicted to. I don't know why she would stay with someone like Steven. Moving on to Jenny and Sumit. Okay. So, Sean asked, do your parents know that you're married? Sumit said no. His parents still do not know that they're married. Jenny said that they would have stopped the wedding. Okay, we know, we get it. So the parents come in, and the brother and the sister-in-law also come in as well. So soon after, Jenny had reconciled with his parents, that one scene where the mother was like, oh, Jenny, we accept you. We love you. We're not going to get in the way of you being with Sumit. That soon after that, the mother had contacted Sumit and told Sumit to send Jenny back home, and they wanted him to come back home. So Jenny was like, it was all fake. It was all fake. Everything she told me was fake. Yeah, it was. And you should have known that, Jenny. Yes, it was all fake. I mean, you could, anyways. So Sean said that y'all had went against the astrologer telling the parents, because the parents the astrologer had told the parents, leave them alone, let them do their thing, whatever happened will happen. It's destined to be, it's fate, it's in the stars that they're going to be together. You can't change that. But then soon after that, the mother was trying to convince Sumit to leave Jenny, send her back to America, and come back home with us. So Sean was telling the parents, so you went against the astrologer. And the mom said, no, I didn't, because I left them alone. They're living together. I never stopped them from living together. So they're living together and they're happy together. I didn't go against the astrologer. So then Sean said, would you accept if Sumit and Jenny got married? The mom said no. And then the dad says, why would they need to get married? They're already living together. So what's the point of getting married? And they even had asked the brother, if how would he feel if Jenny and Sumit got married? And the brother was even against it. And the sister-in-law, the brother's wife, said that, look, we don't agree with it because of the generational gap, the fact that she's so much older, that they don't agree with it. And so then they were asking the brother and the sister-in-law, because they're younger, you would think that they're a little bit more progressive and modern in their way of thinking. And they asked them, they asked the brother, what if someone told you you couldn't marry your wife, for whatever, because of tradition, because of culture, because of your parents, if they didn't like her, what would you have done? And he says, I wouldn't have married her. And then Kenny asked the wife, well, how do you feel about that he wouldn't have married you if his parents didn't like you? And the daughter-in-law was like, well, I never really thought about it like that. And then Kenny said, well, yeah, that's why you have to kind of see yourselves or put yourselves in other people's shoes to understand their experience. So they asked several times. So the parents are there, right, remotely, and they ask Sumit, because everyone's expecting Sumit to drop the bomb and tell his parents that him and Jenny are married. So Sean asked Sumit, in every which way she could, do you have anything else that you want to share with your parents? Do you have anything else to say? I mean, she asked him roundabout, up and down, diagonally, in 3 different languages. Is there anything else you want to add to this, Sumit? And Sumit kept on saying, nope, nope, no, there's nothing else. And so after the parents left, they asked Sumit, the parents and the brother and the sister-in-law, after they left and their mics were turned off and everything, they asked Jenny and Sumit, why didn't you tell your parents? We thought that this was going to be a perfect opportunity. And Sumit said, this just really wasn't the way to tell my mom. He says, I need to be face to face with her. I kind of agree, because the woman could have had a heart attack on camera. She could have really have fallen out. So yeah, maybe it was a good idea for him not to tell his mother in this way, and he wants to do it privately and he wants to do it more personally. That's fine and that's understandable. Jenny seemed really happy. She seemed really excited. Like she was like, she finally got what she wanted. She got her prize. She got her man. Sumit seemed happy as well. Um, so yeah, everything is great for them. Moving on to Kenny and Armando. So Kenny is in the United States because Cassidy, his daughter, is about to pop, and she was there as well, remotely. And yeah, she looked like she was carrying quadruplets. And Armando is really worried that Kenny might not want to return, that he might feel an obligation to stay with his family. All the four kids showed up, and Armando's mother and sister also showed up. So they run the clip of the father at the wedding, and this was a clip that they had never seen before. And this is when, the father was hugging them and telling them congratulations. And the father had said that he had never been to a gay wedding, but everything turned out so perfect. So when Armando saw that, it made him very emotional to see his dad finally accept him. And then, Sumit himself got emotional, and they asked Sumit, why are you crying? And Sumit said that, it's nice to see how Armando's family accepted, his marriage to Kenny, and he wished that it was like that for him as well. That's understandable. And then Armando's family, they didn't know that Kenny and Armando were planning on having a child. So they asked the sister and the mother, how do y'all feel about that? And the sister and the mom were like, well, we think it's a great idea. And three of Kenny's children, the girls, the triplets, they clarified. I think because they saw how they looked, probably, I don't know. But on the show, they were adamant about Kenny having any more children. It seemed like they didn't want him to have any more children whatsoever. But on the tell-all, the triplets said that they don't have an issue with them having a child. They have an issue with him having a baby. I don't know why. I don't know what difference does it make. A child is a child is a child. Either way, it's going to take a lot of his time. I still to this day don't understand why those girls are having an issue with their father having a child. I don't get it. I don't understand. And so Armando said that in his culture, adoption really isn't, what it's not that popular. People don't really do that. They kind of would want their own. He would want to have his own biological child with Kenny, and so. Kenny says, the bottom line is up to him and Armando, and it's going to be their decision to make at the end of the day. And yeah, but Kenny's son, is okay with it. He's like, whatever makes my dad happy makes me happy. So if he wants to have a baby, a biological newborn baby through a surrogate, he says, I'm fine with that. If that's what he wants, I'm for it. And I'm like, you go, boy. So they talk about the whole baby stuff, and that's basically where it had ended. I don't get why the triplets don't want him to have a baby, but they're okay with him adopting a child, an older child. So moving on to Ari and Benny. So Ari to me is going to do whatever the hell Ari wants to do. She don't give a damn about what Benny wants. She don't give a damn about what them sisters want. She's going to do what she wants to do or what her family wants her to do. Okay, so Baby Avi, how's Baby Avi doing? Baby Avi's doing wonderful. How's the relationship going? The relationship is going wonderful. Then all of a sudden, I was kind of blindsided. Leandro comes out on stage, and I'm like, what the hell is he doing here? I thought the whole Leandro thing was over and done with. So Leandro comes on stage. Now let me tell you this: when Leandro went to Ethiopia, I didn't have an issue with Leandro. I had an issue with Ari, and Ari wanting to maintain this relationship with her ex-husband. So when Leandro came on stage, I had an issue with Leandro. So what's his name? Benny tells us that Ariela and Leandro, they talk a lot. And Benny said they will talk for hours on the phone in Spanish. And both Ari and Leandro were like, yeah, we're talking about relationships, and we're giving each other relationship advice. Yeah, that's what we're doing. And so somebody asked, and so Leandro said, so he was talking to Benny directly. He was like, so how would you feel if I was a girl, if I was one of her girlfriends and we were talking like this? How would you feel about that? Would that still bother you? And Benny was like, okay, but you're not her girlfriend. You're her ex-husband. And she's talking to you on the phone for hours. Yeah, so I have an issue with that. I have a problem with that. And so then they asked Leandro, okay, so is it possible for you to, like, kind of step back a little bit, because all of this is really inappropriate. And Leandro said that I'm not stepping back until Ari tells me to step back. And then Benny says, well, what if I'm telling you to step back? And Leandro was like, no, Ari has to be the one. She's my friend, and she has to be the one to tell me to step back. Now, a little bit of background with Ari and Leandro. I don't know if I quite remember this, but I didn't know exactly. I know that Ari had left Leandro and that she met Benny, and I thought she had, like, they knew that they were not going to be together anymore, her and Leandro, when she left for Africa. But in the tell-all, they tell us that Ari was still married to Leandro, which we knew that. But when she met Benny and got pregnant by him, Leandro was still expecting her to come back home. I think I remember that from the season. I do think I remember that. So Leandro was expecting her to come back home. He had no idea that she was, leaving and meeting this other guy and got pregnant and not coming back. So he's waiting for his wife to come home eventually. And so Ari had to call him and tell him, look, I met someone, I'm having this baby, so it's been real. So that was the end of that marriage. And I'm just like, oh, and then Ari feels the need to judge other people's relationships, and to be the way she is with Benny's sisters. And you're the one that's like, you ended your marriage in such a really nasty, messy way. You got pregnant by another man and just called your husband and said, hey, I'm not coming back home because I met someone else and I'm pregnant. Okay. And then Leandro still feels like you and him can still be friends. The whole Leandro thing is suspicious. It's wrong. It's inappropriate. Whether there's something going on or not, it's always going to look like there's something going on. So if Ari has any respect for Benny, she would leave that alone, because there's no way in hell Ari would allow Benny to talk to his ex-girlfriend for hours on end on the phone, talking in their own language. There is no way in hell Ari would allow that. None. But she feels like she can get away with it because she's Ari. Okay, so we talked about Leandro, and okay, and so then Ellie asked Ari that Ari should not. Ellie said that she should not speak with Leandro about her relationship with Benny, and like I agree with that 1,000%. You can't talk to your ex-husband about whatever issues you're having with your current husband. That's just ridiculous, because, I mean, the whole Ari Leandro thing is just, let's just cut it. Cut it, 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 cut it. It's just wrong. But yeah, you can't be calling up your ex, complaining to him about your current. And then for Benny to allow this, to accept this, that's why his sisters are so pissed. This woman is making their brother look like a complete idiot. And Benny needs to put his damn foot down and be like, you know what? If I see you talking to this man one more time, I'm out. I am out of here, because this is some BS. But I don't know. So then the sisters come out, Mimi and Wish. It was a bad. So Ari's issues with the sisters is that she thinks that the sisters are jealous, that they're trying to break up her relationship with their brother. And the sisters obviously think that, Benny can do better. They don't like Ari at all. So they're arguing back and forth. Ari tells us that, it was the sisters that were telling her that Benny was fooling around at the house when she was in the United States. And then Wish said, that's not what I told you. I didn't tell you that he was messing around with another girl or other girls. I said to you, I asked you if I could sleep in your home. And I guess, Ari being Ari, I'm pretty sure she said no. And then Wish was like, well, okay, there's all these other people that are sleeping there. And so that's what kind of got Ari stirred up about Benny. Was he cheating on her? Was he messing around with other girls while she was away? This, that, and the third. And so they asked Ari, well, do you believe he was cheating on you? And she was like, I don't know what was going on. I don't know what was happening over there. But no, I don't think he was cheating on me. So, okay, so then they talked about that. And Ari said that, I had these suspicions because I would call him, he wouldn't answer. I would text him, he wouldn't text back. And then Benny said that he had a lot of anxiety while she was gone because he didn't know she was coming back. So he was like going through a lot of like emotional anxiety about, is my family coming back? Is she going to do to me what my ex-wife did to me? And so he just didn't want to speak with her at all. And plus, every time they talked on the phone, they got into an argument. So he just wanted to avoid the whole entire situation with her. So I don't know, but I didn't think so. Okay, yeah. So then her and the sisters are going back and forth. Then Ari got up and left, and then the sister got up and left, and then they all came back again. And then there was an issue with the nanny. So the sisters were saying that the nanny was the one that was like brainwashing Ariella. That there was something that the nanny was somehow brainwashing her, making her think that the sisters were not good people, that they were trying I think the nanny was trying to pit Ari against the sisters, and Ari said no, that she was not doing any of that. The nanny was my best friend, and the only reason why I say that is because when I wanted to leave Benny, the nanny encouraged me to stay with him and to work on my relationship and to not leave, whereas the sisters would, they were trying to break us up. They were trying to cause conflict between me and Benny, but the nanny was the only one that really wanted to see us together. So I don't have any problems with the nanny. And then the sister said, well, Benny didn't like the nanny. And then Ari was like, yes, you did. Tell your sisters that you like the nanny. And then the sisters were like, he told us he wanted a new nanny. He didn't like that nanny because of the fact that she was like, brainwashing Ariella, that she was, talking bad about the sisters. And so Benny, he really didn't have much to say. He didn't really want to take one side over the other. And I think it's coming to a point now, Benny, where you are kind of looking a little bit wussy. And Ariella she has a very strong alpha personality. She's extremely bossy, very, very controlling. So I just want to tell Mimi and Wish, say goodbye to your brother. I don't think you're ever going to see your brother again. As long as Ariella is alive, you will never see your brother again in person. I just don't think that Ariella is going to allow Benny to ever go back to Ethiopia. And yeah, it's not going to happen. She doesn't want you to talk to your, even though she can talk to her ex-husband, for hours on end. She doesn't want Benny to talk to his sisters or have anything to do with his sisters. And I'm sorry, Benny, but when you left Ethiopia, I pray to God that you kissed the ground, that Ethiopian land. I pray that you kissed it, that you said goodbye to all your family and friends, because you will never set foot in your mother country ever again as long as Ariella is breathing. Moving on to Ellie and Victor. So, Ellie and Victor, she said that, okay, he's in America. So they asked, how was it that he was able to come to the United States? And she said that, before I even moved to Providencia, I was going to work on the K-1 visa to get him over here. But then COVID happened. Everything was pushed back. So then I decided, well, I'll just go live with him in Providencia. But then the hurricane happened. So now I'm trying to get back. So Victor says, look, it's nice here in New York, but I ain't got no plans on living here. I want to go back to Providencia. So I don't know what they're going to do about that. So then they talked about, then they bring out Hiromi, Ellie's friend. And Hiromi said that she has an issue with the relationship because of Victor cheating. Now, they didn't get too much into it because during the season, because the cheating had happened before she even left the United States. So we got some of it. We knew that he was definitely cheating, but it seemed like, okay, he was cheating on her, but it wasn't like an ongoing, I don't know. So Hiromi was like, yeah, I don't care for this relationship because there's red flags all over it. And Sean asked Hiromi, so do you think that Ellie sees these red flags? And then Hiromi was like, obviously not, because she's still with him. So, Ellie was like that she does. They asked Ellie, do you trust him? She hesitated. And then Hiromi was like, there's your answer right there, the fact that she's hesitating. And so Ellie was like, no, I trust him, but he does have an anger issue, and he is getting anger management. Okay. Okay, maybe he does. So then they run the clip of the whole, when they got into their argument, of the money situation, and him saying, we don't need tourism to make it. And she was like, yes, we do need tourism, because every time that you were asking me for money, you said it was because there was no tourists here. So you needed money from me because you weren't making any. So they run that whole clip again. And so Victor said that it was really hurtful to see that. He wasn't in his best light. He didn't look, anyways. And so then Ellie said that, it really hurts her feelings when he calls her cheap. And she says, because I take care of him. I give him money. I try to help him out as much as I can. And I don't like it when he calls me cheap because he doesn't have a problem asking me for money and I give it to him. He doesn't call me cheap then. And so they asked her, well, how much money have you given him? She says around 5,000. I kind of think that's, she was lowballing it. But she says she's given him around $5,000. So Victor feels bad because he can't contribute to the relationship financially. And then, Hermione said that, she's always coming to me crying about Victor. She's always upset about Victor. So Hermione was like, I don't really see it for them. I don't really see a good future for them. But, it's her life. She's going to do whatever the hell she wants to do. And so I guess they're going to try to work on it. I don't know. Corey and Evelin. Evelin and Corey are not doing good at all because Evelin is saying that, after they got married, she's finding out more and more things about Corey's relationship with Jenny, and it completely infuriates her. She says that she's in a very toxic relationship with Corey. So they play the clip of Corey meeting up with Jenny, and they play the clip of his confessional when the producer asked him, do you have feelings for Jenny? And he completely acted a damn fool. Instead of just saying, no, I don't. That's over. I have no feelings for her. In fact, when I really think about it, I don't think I ever have feelings for her. Instead of saying that, he kind of got nervous and he was like, where's the tequila? I need something to drink. Oh my God, this questioning is like too much. So when she saw that, Evelin was like, you see, I didn't know all that was going on. I didn't know you were still having feelings for her. So this is what I'm talking about. You have the opportunity to tell me everything and you never tell me everything. I have to find out the whole picture piece by piece by piece. So when I get over something, I find out something else and now I'm mad again. And then I get over that and then I find out something else. So Corey's sitting there, like a dog with its tail between its legs. And he's like, I'm just so sorry. I'm just so sorry. And we just need to move on and move past this. The sisters come out. The sisters like, we don't see it for Corey. We don't like him. We've never liked him. We still don't like him. He's a liar. What do they say? He's a liar. He hasn't changed since they met him, and he's not a real man. And that's why they gave him that nasty soup, because they were like, he's not a real man. He doesn't have any balls, and so that's why we gave him that soup so he can get some balls and be a real man. And the brother came out with his wife, Corey's brother, and he talked about how, Evelin, no one got along with Evelin when Evelin was living with them. The sister-in-law said the same thing. No one was really getting along with her at all. And the brother and the sister-in-law said that, look, whenever Corey always took Evelyn's side. So whatever Evelin said, he believed it. And it turned him against us. And that's why we really don't have a close relationship anymore, because Evelin turned Corey against his family. And the brother said, Corey is actually trapped in this relationship. And Evelin was like, I don't trap anybody. I don't make anybody stay with me. I've always told him he can do and go wherever he wants to go, do whatever he wants to do. He doesn't have to be with me if he doesn't want to be with me. So I've never told him that he had to be with me, which is true. That's 100% true. Evelin has always been like, you know what? You can do whatever you want to do. I'll be fine without you. And that always makes Corey want to come running back to her because of the fact that she doesn't need him. And so Corey says, I've been in Ecuador all these years by myself. And then Steven, of all people, chimes in and says, no, you haven't been there alone. You still got Jenny. I was like, oh my God, Steven, Lord. I'm pretty sure that if Evelin could have somehow transmitted herself through that screen, she would have pummeled the hell out of Steven. So, yeah, so they talked about, so when they showed the whole Jenny clip, even, Evelin started crying again because she kind of, she sees them hugging. She sees the fact that, Corey made this effort to go meet with her to kind of put closure to the relationship, to check on Jenny and all of that. So when she saw all of that, of course, she got emotional again. And then even the brother got on him. The brother was like, that's just foul, Corey. You're foul for that. So Evelin says that she's in a toxic relationship, and, but she says she loves him. She really loves him. She's used to him being around, which is like a really bad thing. When people say, you know what, I can't leave them because I'm so used to them being there. That's horrible, because you're not happy, but then you're so afraid of being alone. And if you only knew that, you'll be so much happier without that. So yeah, that was the end of the reunion. There was some stuff that happened afterwards, some final thoughts or whatever, but I'm not going to get into that because this video is already way too long. But yeah, it was a good tell-all. I feel like there was a lot of loose ends, and I hope that all of these couples come back to 90 Day Fiancé, 90 Day after the 90 days. I hope they come back to after the 90 days, every single one of them, because I want to see what happens with Evelin and Corey, if they're able to finally let go of the past and move forward. I want to see if Benny and Ariela are going to get married, and I want to see how Benny is going to acclimate to living in America and being away from his family and friends. I want to see Ellie and Victor. What are they going to decide to do? Because Ellie started the K-1 visa, so is Victor going to go back? Is he going to stay in the United States or go back to Providencia? Are they going to get married? Because, the application is in process. So I want to see that. I want to see if, they wouldn't come on after the 90 days because they're still going through the process. Okay. I would want to see, Alina and Steven, if Steven can get himself together, and if Alina's really going to stay with him. And I want to see Armando and Kenny, if they're going to start their family. So I hope that they're all going to come back in some other franchise in one form or another. If you've made it this far, thank you so much. I appreciate you more than you'll ever know. And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And I will definitely talk to you again. Bye-bye.